Now we will see the continued lecture of the malaria. In previous lecture, we saw the causative agent of the malaria, that is a plasmodium, which is a protozoon. Then vector, female Anopheles mosquito, and how will you diagnose the peripheral smear. And then we also saw the sign and symptoms. Now in today's lecture, we will see how this disease present or presentation of this particular disease. So this disease present after the infection, after the bite. We already said it is like 7 to 14 days. It takes 7 to 14 days to appear the first sign or first symptoms. So presentation after 7 to 14 days, and all these are like flu-like symptoms. So in flu, you will have the fever, common cold, fatigue, shivering, some nausea, vomiting. Same flu-like symptoms you can see in case of this malaria. So what are the flu-like symptoms? Okay, so fever, because of the fever, there is a sweating, because of the sweating, there is a dehydration and headache and fatigability, right? Then shivering, chills, rigor, we already saw this sign and symptoms, nausea, vomiting, and because the disease is related to the RBC, there is a rupture of many RBCs, so the RBC count decreases and patient land up into anemia, or you can say which type of anemia? Hemolytic type of anemia. Which anemia? Hemolytic anemia. And then jaundice, because they enter into the liver where they divide and redivide. Color of urine also changes, like it's a dark, it is like almost dark red in color urine because of the hemolytic anemia. Then convulsion, coma, these are all the flu-like symptoms in case of the malaria, right? There is one word I want you to remember, that is paroxysmal attack. What is this paroxysmal attack? It is like a cyclical occurrence of, or it is a cyclical occurrence of fever. It is the cyclical occurrence of fever associated with this other sign and symptoms, or fever, or you can say cold. Cyclical, not continuous, it is the cyclical. So cyclical occurrence of the fever, which is followed by shivering, which is followed by the shivering, and again then there is a fever plus sweating. So what is paroxysmal attack? In paroxysmal attack, first there is a sudden cold body, then after coldness, to warm this up, body is getting like fever, body is getting shivering. Then after shivering, that is because of the fever, then there is a sweating. So coldness, then shivering, then fever, and then there is a sweating. So this is a cyclical attack, which is called paroxysmal attack. You can see in case of the malaria. So first shivering, then shivering, before shivering there is a cold, body become cold or coldness in the body, then there is a shivering, then there is a fever and sweating. Sweating always followed after the fever, and before the fever there is a shivering, or sometimes shivering is also associated with the fever. Coldness is the first one and sweating is the last one, right? So cold body, okay, so there is a shivering and then it becomes warm, and for that there is a sweating. So you have to remember this sequence: coldness, shivering, fever and sweating. This is the paroxysmal attack, right? Whenever we are talking about the fever, I said it's a tertian fever or quartan fever, tertian fever or quartan fever. So what is basically the tertian fever or quartan fever? Tertian fever is every 2 days. Tertian fever is after every 2 days. So after 2 days, there is a third day, and that's why it is called tertian fever. So every 2 days you will get the fever, that is called tertian fever. What is quartan fever? Every third day after every third day. So it is called quartan fever. It is called quartan fever. So where you will get tertian fever, where you will get the quartan fever in case of the malaria? The tertian fever you will get in vivax and oval. So in vivax and oval you will get the tertian fever, and in falciparum and in malari you will get the quartan fever. So we already say Plasmodium vivax, malari, falciparum, and there is a oval. So in FM you will get the quartan fever, falciparum and malari you will get the quartan fever. In case of tertian fever, that is in vivax, and in case of the oval you will get the tertian fever. Falciparum is usually caused by the most malignant species, that is Plasmodium falciparum. Okay, and this causes, I already say, they cross the blood-brain barrier, and that is why they are the causes of cerebral malaria. If there is a cerebral malaria, then there are the signs and symptoms of your which one? That is coma and convulsion. Okay, because they are affecting the central nervous system. You can see the neurological symptoms. You can see the neurological symptoms like coma, convulsions, seizure, or nystagmus in the eye, or abnormal postures. All these neurological symptoms you can see in case of the that is the Plasmodium falciparum type of malaria. So this is how this disease present. Okay, so presentation of this diseases. Now what are the complication of these diseases? What happened? What are the complication, right? So usually they don't show any respiratory sign and symptoms. Because of the common cold they show mild congestion. Okay, but there is no like usually affection of the respiratory system. Okay, common is like GI system, circulatory system, musculoskeletal system. So little about the respiratory distress. So you can see the respiratory distress. This respiratory disease is not because of the attack on the respiratory system. It is because of the less RBC and less oxygen. Okay, because of this disease affect the blood or RBC. Most importantly, renal failure you can see. Most importantly, you can see the renal failure, and that is why the urine, it is red or black in color, and this is also called black water fever. This is also called black water fever. So renal failure is one of the most important complication you can see in case of this all type of malaria, like respiratory distress, somewhat less, renal failure. So it is a black water fever. It affects the brain. So there is an inflammation of brain and encephalopathy. So what is encephalo? Encephalo means brain, pathy means pathology. So there is something bad happen inside the brain. We already discussed about the spleen, splenomegaly. So it is the enlarged spleen, enlarged liver, liver size increases, spleen size increases. Okay, so these are the complication. Okay, sometimes there is a bleeding disorder. Already patient is having the malaria, less blood, so it will having the bleeding disorder or coagulopathy, or patient can also land up into the shock because of anything, any problem to the spleen. Okay, if this malaria, most important, happen to the pregnancy or pregnant lady, there are chances of abortion more. Termination might be of pregnancy because of the malaria, right? So stillbirth is one of the complication in case of the malaria. Okay, because already there is a less oxygen supply to the mother because of the malaria, and then mother has to feed the baby. So low birth weight, abortion, stillbirth, these are the complication of the malaria if the patient is pregnant. Okay, which is the most commonest pathogen? Okay, so most common is Plasmodium, very common. V याद रखना है आपको, very common, vivax, and far complicated is Plasmodium falciparum, right? So death and dreaded is falciparum, and very common is Plasmodium vivax. So this is a MCQ they usually ask. The most commonest which type of pathogen is Plasmodium vivax, and death is because of the Plasmodium falciparum, right? So whenever you see the life cycle of this particular pathogen. So definitive host, there are two hosts, definitive and intermediate host. So usually definitive host where there is a sexual reproduction. So female Anopheles mosquito is the definitive host where there is a sexual reproduction. Okay. Now this female Anopheles mosquito transfer with the help of bite. They bite and then they transfer sporozoite into the human circulation. These are motile. They are motile sporozoite into the human circulation, right? So human is the secondary host. It is the definitive or primary host, and human is the secondary or intermediate host. So you can say human is the secondary and female Anopheles is the primary host. Now this sporozoite, they travel through the blood circulation. Here these are RBC and I will draw, these are the sporozoite. So this sporozoite, they travel through the blood circulation. Here they divide asexually. Before going to the blood circulation, they enter into the liver and from liver into the blood circulation. Here there is a asexual reproduction. They increase in number asexually inside the RBC. So their number increases and after some time this RBC rupture and there is a release of the sporozoite along with the hemozoin pigment along with the. So here you can see, here it is the sexual reproduction and here there is a asexual reproduction. Here there is which reproduction? Asexual reproduction. Usually in blood vessel which is present inside the liver. So asexual reproduction I want to remember inside the liver. Okay, so asexual reproduction, this is called schizogamy. Schizogamy, that is the asexual reproduction. And what they produce? They produce these are merozoite. First there is a sporozoite produced by the Anopheles mosquito. Now these are called the merozoite. And these merozoites, they are infecting the RBC or new RBC, and here they are producing or multiplying by asexual reproduction. Okay, and these are called the merozoites. So this is by the asexual reproduction, that is by schizogamy, that is in the liver and blood. Okay, now these merozoites which are present inside the RBC, they convert themselves into the gametocyte, male and female gametocyte, but these are immature. And that is why there is no sexual reproduction in case of the human being. This male and female gametophyte again enter into the female Anopheles mosquito whenever there is a second male. Here they mature inside the GIT of the mosquito and again there is a sexual reproduction and there is a production of sporozoite. So this male and female immature gametocytes, they are produced inside the human being, right? Now this male and female fuse to forms the ookinete, or you can say zygote, and this zygote again forms the sporozoite. So this is the life cycle. So whenever there is a rupture of these RBCs because of the increase in number, there is a release of one pigment that is called hemozoin pigment, which is a toxic pigment, and this toxic pigment leads to the fever. So can you see there is a time period, every time it requires certain time, and that is why it is tertian fever, or that is called quartan fever. So it will take time to appear the fever. So that is why it is a cyclical changes. It is the cyclical changes. So only female mosquito feeds on the blood. This is very, very important. Male mosquito not. Where exactly the male mosquito feed? If female mosquito feeds on the blood, what about the male one? What about the male one? Male feed on plant nectar. So the mosquito you've seen on the plant, it is the male one, and those who are biting you, they are the female one. Always female mosquito bite you, not the male one, right? So Anopheles prefer to feed at night, and they usually prefer during the evening time and night time. What is the time of feeding? Feeding is the night time, or actually night, or you can say dusk time. Whenever there is a dusk, or whenever there is a night time, at that time they are started searching the blood, and that is why the mosquito which bite during the dusk or evening time or night time, they are usually the female mosquitoes. So that is why there is a difference with the biting time. Like usually if you see the dengue fever, so dengue mosquito usually bite during the morning time, like 11 and 12. So there are particular identification time also, so they bite during the night and dusk time, or it can say throughout the night or throughout the dark. So this is all about your which one, female Anopheles mosquito, right? Now in liver, so if anything happen in liver, the one is the liver, and second is the blood vessel. Inside the blood vessel there is RBC. So RBC and liver. So this is erythrocytic phase, and this is outside the, so it is called exoerythrocytic phase of this particular pathogen. So RBC, erythrocytic phase. Outside the RBC, if there is a sporocyte or merocyte, then it is called that is exoerythrocytic, or this is inside the RBC, erythrocytic. Skin bite, whenever there is a skin bite, sporocyte enter into the blood, from blood into the hepatocyte. In hepatocyte, it's asexual reproduction, then it will take like 8 to 14 days or more than 14-15 days, and this is a dormant stage. And this sporocyte, whenever they divide, they develop into the, they convert them into the merocyte. Merocyte enter into the RBC, and from RBC they asexually reproduce and they rupture and they causes the fever. And again they enter into the fresh RBC. So this is how the cycle takes place. Now what exactly happened here? This parasite, which is called Plasmodium parasite, relatively protected from the attack of immune system. They usually protected. Your immune system doesn't directly attack. They usually protected from the attack of the immune system. Because why they are protected from the attack of immune system? Because they are not present in the blood. They are present inside the RBC or inside the liver cell. That is why our immune system doesn't attack on this particular parasite. This is very important, right? So why immune system relatively protect our immune system, or that parasite is protected from our immune system? Because they are present inside the cell, or you can say inside the RBCs. Okay, so this is all about the pathophysiology. Now this Plasmodium falciparum, okay, they have one adhesive protein on the surface. They have certain adhesive protein on the surface, okay, and because of this adhesive protein, they stick to the wall. They stick to the wall of the blood vessel. They stick to the wall of blood vessel, and this can, because of this, after sticking, they can breach into the cerebral circulation. So another, they doesn't have the adhesive substance, but only in case of Plasmodium falciparum, their surface have the adhesive protein, and because of that adhesive protein, when they rupture from RBC, they stick to the cell of the blood vessel, and from this cell they enter into the cerebral circulation, and because of that they causes the cerebral malaria. So this is why they enter. Diagnosis, how will you diagnose this? History of travel, this is very, very important, right? So how will you diagnose? Diagnosis of malaria is very important. How will you diagnose? Okay, travel history is important. Enlarged spleen, okay, so you can just go for peripheral smear. Anemia, you can see the, or microscopic examination of the blood film. This we already saw, it is called PS for MP, right? Now this malaria, okay, so it is, as per the WHO, it is classified as a complicated or you can say severe, complicated or severe. So if the level of consciousness, if the patient is conscious, then it is not really a severe, but if the patient is not conscious, then it is the severe. So level of consciousness is important criteria to differentiate severity of this malaria, right? Then history of convulsion, if there are 2 or more convulsion, then it is called the severe, Now the treatment part, there is no vaccine. There is no vaccine of this particular diseases. So no vaccine of malaria. What we can do, we can just control the mosquitoes. How we can control the mosquitoes? By using the mosquito repellent net, or you can use the spray, or like anything, we can just control the mosquito. So breeding places of that particular mosquito we have to evacuate, right? So treatment of confirmed cases is also important, right? And health education is very, very important. You should aware the people that where there is a stagnated water or where there is a crowded place, okay, so there this particular vector or there, that is called mosquito, they breed more. So stagnant water disposal is very, very important in case of the. Now medication. The pharmacology is very important. So medication, chloroquine. You should know about the chloroquine. So chloroquine, or you can say mefloquine. Chloroquine, this is a quinine one. Chloroquine, mefloquine, or you can say along with doxycycline or atovaquone or proguanil. All these are basically the medication we can use in case of the malaria, right? So artemisinians. So that is called artemisinin. This artemisinin basically combination therapy decrease the resistance. If you combine with this chloroquine, so there is a decreased resistance of the single drugs. So this is all about your which one, that is the what are the medication used in case of pregnancy. Usually they ask about the pregnancy and treatment of malaria. In pregnancy we can use the quinine. We can use the quinine along with one antibiotic that is called clindamycin. That is called the clindamycin, but usually in a first trimester, okay. In case of second and third trimester, we have to use the ACT. So this is all about your which one, second trimester, third trimester and first trimester. If it is a cerebral malaria, then you can use the IV anti-malarial drug, because we have to use that drug which will enter into the cerebral blood circulation, that is a parenteral artesunate. Okay, so you don't have to use the quinine, you have to use the parenteral artesunate drug. Okay, artemisinin or artesunate drug. Okay, so this is all about your which one, if there is a cerebral malaria, right? Now this artemisinin, they are expensive, and you cannot give it alone. Okay, so these are expensive, you cannot give alone, and they have short half-life. Expensive drug cannot give alone, and they have the short half-life. So you cannot really use this artemisinin as a prophylactic treatment, right? So specifically IV and intramuscular use is better in case of artemisinin. Okay, so in spite of quinine, but they are expensive and they have short half-life, right? So this is all about your which one, that is artesunate. We can use oral also, and that is oral or IV. So artesunate oral and artesunate IV. Okay, then arteether. Okay, so this is about the treatment of your which one, that is called the malarial, right? So these are the drug which can use in case the malarial. Chloroquine, whenever we are talking about the chloroquine, the first line, okay, with treatment of the malaria is the chloroquine, that is the primaquine. Okay, so chloroquine or primaquine is the first line of treatment. So what is the dose of chloroquine? Initial dose whenever you start is 10 milligram per kg, followed by after 6 to 8 hours you have to reduce the dose to the half, like 5 milligram per kg. Okay, and then 5 milligram per kg for 2 to 3 days. So initially is 10 milligram per kg is the dose of the chloroquine, right? And it's very sensitive, chloroquine sensitive. Okay, so we can use the hydroxychloroquine. Okay, if somebody is resistant to the chloroquine, so in spite of chloroquine we can use the mefloquine. But the dose is double, like 20 milligram per kg. How much? It is 20 milligram per kg, or you can also increase up to the 25 milligram per kg, and that is how the same drug we can use if somebody is resistant to the chloroquine. So resistant to the chloroquine is the mefloquine. And then artemisinin. This artemisinin, the dose is same like the mefloquine, like 20 milligram per kg, and then it's again reduced to the half, like 10 milligram per kg. But it is not for 3 days, it is for 6 days. It is for how many days? It is for the 6 days. And all these drug we can also use pyrimethamine and sulfadiazine. So there is one more drug, pyrimethamine and sulfadiazine combination for the treatment. So we will see the final treatment. We don't go in a detail of this particular treatment. I just want you, which final treatment I want you to remember. There are 4 type of Plasmodium, like Plasmodium falciparum, Plasmodium malaria, Plasmodium ovale, and Plasmodium falciparum malaria ovale, and there is a Vivax. So if it is a Plasmodium falciparum, the drug of choice is chloroquine. Plasmodium malaria, 100% chloroquine. Then ovale, chloroquine. But here in ovale and Vivax, we can add the primaquine. So usually when they ask about the primary line of or final treatment about the malaria, you have to talk about that is called the chloroquine. There is one word I want you to remember, that is called chinchonism. That is called chinchonism. Or what is this chinchonism? It is the overdose of this quinidine. So overdose of quinidine is basically the chinchonism, or it is also called quinism. Okay, so this quinidine, you have to remember, it is an antiarrhythmic drug. You already know it is the antiarrhythmic drug, right? So what happened in chinchonism? Flush or sweaty skin, tinnitus, blurred vision, confusion, headache, pain, and vertigo. So large doses, it might causes the skin rash. Okay, so it is the reversible. If it is reversible, you can withdraw this drug. I want you to remember this one, that is called chinchonism. And then there is one word we already saw, that is called black water fever. This quinine may trigger the rare hypersensitivity reaction to the malaria in case of malaria, right? And that is called black water fever. Here there is a massive hemolysis. That's why we take this black water fever into the complication. Because of the overuse of the quinine, there is a massive hemolysis, okay, breakdown of RBC, and then it is what is black water fever, or you can say hemoglobinemia. Okay, so or might be the patient can land up into the renal failure. RBC burst, release of hemoglobin in the vessels, hyperhemoglobinemia, urine become red in color or dark red in color, right, the black in color, renal failure, and patient can have chills, rigor, dark jaundice, nausea, vomiting, right, shock, and these are all the hemolytic crisis. So usually in case of falciparum, we use the quinine, right? So quinine trigger only we are using in resistant cases. So treatment, what is the treatment of black water fever? Nothing. You can just go for the removal of that particular toxin by means of dialysis and by using the IV fluid, So these are certain complications I want you to remember. So this is all about your which one? That is called malaria, causative agent of malaria. How will you treat the malaria? So in short, we are covering every treatment. The treatment is very large. It's huge. Okay. So this is all about your which one? Malaria. In next lecture, we will see the next infective disorders. Thank you.